Liberty Bank is a strong sponsor for events in our communities. Our tagline is "Be community kind," and nothing makes a stronger community than a healthy business community. That is why we are proud to support Simsbury and Granby Chambers of Commerce as they come together to one strong chamber as we move forward.
Thank you. So this year, Liberty Bank celebrated 197th birthday. We're super excited about that, and we'll be celebrating 200 years in just about 3 years or so. We're the oldest mutual savings bank in Connecticut. We're a full-service bank. I wanted to take this opportunity and personally thank some of our business partners who support so many of you, so many businesses. Sue Fern, our cash management officer, please stand up. And thank you. And Sophie Stevens, our financial advisor on the investment side. Thank you. And Stephen Taylor, our commercial lender. Thank you. Again, thank you to the Chamber for this opportunity to be able to speak today, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll be hearing from Joe Beal, the Simsbury Chamber President.
Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Okay. We're going to start today's program with the official and last annual meeting for the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce. I now call the annual business meeting of the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce to order. The minutes of the last annual meeting held on May 19th, 2021 are in the Chamber's files. I will entertain a motion that the reading of those minutes be waived and that they be accepted. Do I have a motion? Do we have a second? By a show of hands, do I have votes for yay? Do we have any nay votes? Any abstaining? Then the motion carries. Traditionally, the board of directors and officers are nominated and voted on during the annual business meeting. However, this year, the nominated board of directors and executive committee officers were voted on by membership on March 3rd, which included the vote in favor of merging the Simsbury and Granby Chamber of Commerce. According to the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce bylaws, a quorum of 10% of membership is required to pass business transactions. A quorum for both chambers was achieved on March 3rd in favor of the merger. Your newly elected board will be introduced later in today's program. At this time, I would like to ask if any member present would like to discuss old business or new business before we proceed with today's activities. Then at this point, I now declare the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce annual meeting adjourned. As this is our last official meeting as the Simsbury Chamber and the Granby Chamber, I'd like to say a few words tonight, and hopefully I'll use this microphone well so you can hear me. So good evening to everybody, and thank you for attending. We gather today after a difficult several years for celebration. Today we celebrate the excellent service of small business leaders, educators, their students, and public servants. We also celebrate the return of our community's small business vitality after facing several years of locally and globally impactful events. We've had to endure pandemics, ongoing wars, reductions of staffing in key service industries, and a lack of manufacturing materials and goods. These factors significantly reduce the products and services small businesses provide, a sincere detriment to their survival. During that time, the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce is proud to have been a local organization that supported the continued well-being of our members in this community. The Simsbury Chamber of Commerce began in 1959 when a group of businessmen met at a local tavern and formed a retail merchants association. In 1961, the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce was incorporated, and in 2011, we celebrated our 50th year. In 2022, we can count over 300 local businesses among our membership. The Chamber's operations are overseen by 6 officers, 12 directors, and an executive director. After 63 years of service dedicated to the small business community, the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce will continue its mission in a new format. We are excited that 2022 will open a new chapter for both the Granby and Simsbury Chambers of Commerce with the merger of our 2 organizations into one unified chamber. Like Simsbury, the Granby Chamber of Commerce has a long and distinctive history of dedicated service to its community. The Granby, Connecticut Chamber started in March of 1965 with 25 members and currently has well over 140 members and is still growing. That significant growth in the last few years has maintained the Chamber as a vibrant organization. The Granby Chamber is involved in bringing new business to the area, helping its members when called upon, and making Granby a better place to live by enthusiastically supporting town activities and charities. This new organization's mission will be the same as it always has been: create opportunities for our members to succeed by supporting local business, providing resources, and cultivating relationships. Living up to that mission means understanding the economic drivers that are critical to a healthy economy and working with the small business leaders of our community to make that happen. The last few years have proved to our members the importance of a local chamber's responsibility to provide promotional and networking opportunities. It's also critical that our members feel they belong to an organization that allows them to have their voices heard within their community. Member engagement is one of the most important reasons our chamber was able to be a means of support. Our members' flexibility with online meetings, in-person meetings, and attendance and signature chamber events help maintain a healthy and sustained local business economy. We're thankful that our members have understood our challenges as we made the shifts and were able to remain engaged so we can continue to serve. The merger of Granby and Simsbury Chambers will increase the benefits our members receive. Small businesses will be able to make more business contacts, acquire more customer referrals, increase their visibility within a now larger network, provide more networking opportunities, and solidify their voice within local government. As a result, small business chamber members will have access to resources, discounts, and relationships that will enable them to save money, market their products, and increase their business footprint. In closing, on behalf of the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce, I want to thank all the members of our community. Our mutual successes were obtained through our partnerships with each other, and we renew our commitment to you with our community. The merger of our 2 chambers has never been about the end of the Simsbury or the Granby Chamber of Commerce. Instead, it has always been about the recognition that modern times call for modern solutions. With new resources available to the Granby and Simsbury communities, we are stoically confident that small businesses will experience continued growth, success, and longevity. On a personal note, it was an honor to serve on the board of directors for the Simsbury Chamber since 2015 and be its president since 2020. I could not ask for a better group of individuals, a better organization, or a better community to be associated with. I look forward to serving on the board of our new Chamber of Commerce, and no words today are suitable to express my gratitude and respect for everybody within this community. And I thank you very much.
Now we will be doing our scholarship winners for the Simsbury. Better now, a little bit. Now we will be doing announcing our winners for the Simsbury Scholarship. I'm so proud of our education committee and the work that they have done over this past year, raising funds and then choosing recipients for this honor. We have the committee, and most of them are here with us today. The committee is made up of Chairperson Elaine Groundwater with Coldwell Banker Realty, Jerry Toner with Friends of Simsbury Farms. Where's Jerry? Where is he? Right there. Oh, you gotta come up here, Jerry. Lydia Tadone, member of Simsbury Board of Education. And those not in attendance today are Pasquale Cerrone with Huntington Learning Center. Leah, I'm going to butcher her last name, it's terrible, nobody tell her. Leah Weimerskirch with Russian School of Mathematics. Fred Choi with Authentic Leadership Solutions. And here's Elaine.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. First, we're going to present the Tim Push Scholarship Award. Just want to say that the Education Committee, we work to fundraise during the year for scholarship awards for the area community students. And this year we had based our awards on the relationship that the students had to the community, in particular to the chamber, if that was possible. We look at their extracurricular activities as well as their work activities and their volunteer activities as well. In their letter of recommendation, we like to look at their essay and see how they related to the community through their education and their life to this point. Do you want to talk about the Tim Push Award, or do you want me to present that? Okay. So this year, the Tim Push Scholarship has been awarded to Veronica Kaminsky. Congratulations. Thank you. And Veronica grew up in Simsbury. She went to Simsbury High School. She went to Squadron Line first, and then went to middle school in Simsbury High School. She was challenged early on by an autoimmune disorder diagnosis, and being in the hospital she was inspired to help with the community to do a toy drive that helped the Connecticut Children's Medical Center, and she has an appreciation of the community because many of the community people helped to work with that toy drive. Okay, she also was involved with tennis and cross country, and showed conscientiousness, responsibility, leadership, and was a very, very organized and hardworking person. She was also the president of the Best Buddies Club, and was in the National Honor Society, and was in the Women's Empowerment Club. So congratulations. And she'll be going to UConn in the fall. Closer. Okay. Next is Michaela Fluster from Simsbury High School. And Michaela learned about the creativity of the community, especially during COVID. She was very appreciative of the art walk and the concerts that we had, and that just neighbors helping neighbors. She helped to bring back the program for the police cadet in Simsbury. So she made many connections and was involved with the Stuff a Cruiser. She also helps tutor French, and she was awarded the David Vidal Award by the police department. Also a captain of the crew team and the girls crew team, and works hard and is a problem solver, resilient, and a good listener and a leader as well. She'll be going to the University of North Carolina in Wilmington to study marine biology. Oh, did I get you mixed up? Sorry. She was going to the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, to study forensic psychology. Okay. did screw up somehow. Okay. And then Hayley Garbinski from Simsbury High School. And Hayley went to Tooten Hills and learned respect and care, leadership and empathy. She's involved with the Pilgrim Fellowship Youth Group, as well as very involved with the Harwinton Animal Control Shelter. She learned to organize fundraisers. She was involved with the National Honor Society, Simsbury Hockey Club. She's a singer as well as plays field hockey, and was a leader in training at Camp Woodstock. Also involved with environmental protection and was in a tech crew for stage productions. Let's see if I get this right. Hayley's going to the University of North Carolina in Wilmington to study marine biology. Thank you.
Okay, now, oh gosh, my voice is terrible. Just gonna be squeaking through the whole thing. It's pretty obnoxious. I apologize again. Now I'm going to be doing a year review of what the Simsbury Chamber was able to accomplish in 2021. This past year was filled with big developments, one of which was bringing Leslie Juarez on as our full-time marketing director. With her help, we have newly designed our chamber brand, marketing material, website, and increased our online presence. Through our increased outreach and member benefits, we've seen our membership grow. The last year, we were over our budget in dues by almost $6,000, with 58 new members joining the Chamber of Commerce, which is more than double the new members in 2019 and 2020, and 3 times that of 2018. We have a current membership of 350 and are thrilled to see this number continue to grow. We've hosted 9 ribbon cuttings for our members in 2021, which is amazing given the businesses are still recovering from COVID. These ribbon cuttings represent not only new businesses in the areas, but new families as well. And as these businesses have expanded or recreated themselves in some way, we have been there to support them through that process. We had a very successful sold-out golf tournament this past year with the Granby Chamber, and we can't wait to host another one, which is coming up very soon, Monday, June 13th. If you're planning on golfing, register ASAP. We're almost out of golfers. And I'll leave it to Scott Riley to talk a little bit more about that golf tournament further in the program. Last September, we collaborated with the Simsbury Meadows Performing Arts Center to host our Health Expo during their September Feast event. We had a fantastic turnout. We had over 30 of our members come and showcase their products and services in the health and wellness industry. This year, we will be including our Health Expo with the newly rebranded Celebrate the Valley event, formerly known as Celebrate Granby. And more info on this exciting event later on. We hosted the 2nd annual Spooktacular Celebration at the Simsbury Meadows Performing Arts Center and drive-through trick-or-treating this past October. We had over 5,000 people in attendance, attracting families from all over the region. We had food trucks, performances, games, trick-or-treating, costume contests, and it finished off with a kid dance party on stage, which was not planned, but was absolutely phenomenal. I think we had 50 kids on stage in costume, just going crazy with the DJ. So that's going to be a part of the official program going forward. And lastly, I wanted to highlight the toy drive that we held at the Chamber this past year. We work with Hartford Lending Hands, a 501c3 that accepts applications from families in need over the holiday season. This is the 2nd year that we've worked with them, and this year we were able to collect an absolutely amazing amount of gifts. We had toys, clothing, baby necessities. Oh my gosh, this cutest dog up here. He wasn't planned. And we even collected furniture for a family that didn't have bedroom furniture for their daughter. We were able to provide 32 families with an amazing holiday season. I have to pet him, I'm sorry. And these 32 families weren't just families of 1 or 2 children. They were many times grandparents raising 3, 4 children on their own. So it was exceptional for us to have had the opportunity to help them. And honestly, these kids received so many gifts. I think they did better than mine this past Christmas. So thank you to the Farmington Valley families. The Simsbury Police Department dropped off a huge amount of gifts that were donated. And then Steve Mitchell with Mitchell Auto loaded up a work van with all of these gifts and drove them down to the founder of Hartford Lending Hands for the gifts to be distributed. I hope you are as thrilled as I am with the progress that we've made at this chamber, and I hope you'll continue to support our initiatives and our events in the future. And now I would like to introduce the Granby Board Director, Scott Riley, who will be reviewing Granby Chambers 2021.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday afternoon here. I'm assuming everybody can hear me. Can you hear me now? I've never held one of these. I've always walked up and there's one in the stand somewhere, so I'm a little nervous holding it. Afraid I might drop it. But we've had a number of, not as many as the Simsbury Chamber, but the Granby Chamber has had some new members join this year. And we have quite a few members that have renewed, and we're all pretty excited about joining with the Simsbury, making a new chamber, combined chamber, which should be stronger for both of us. There were a number of different events that we did last year. The first one here is the golf that we shared, teamed up with the Simsbury Chamber on, and it was pretty successful. My main responsibility with this was I donated some beer, which they served at the bar this past year. The year before it was in its own little draft tower. But I'm pretty sure we sold out at golfers and had quite a few sponsors for this. It was quite successful. Our raffle, which we initiated in 2020, has been a big help for the Granby Chamber because we haven't been able to do our in-person celebration, which included the carnival and fireworks and our beer tent, everything else that we've done over the years, which has been, it started out as a small little thing in the middle of town, and I think John and Dottie might talk a little bit more about that in history. But the Granby raffle, we did it last year and the year before. We handed out the prizes to the winning people on the day that we did celebrate. So it was a September event. I'm kind of off cue here because I don't know what slides are coming up.
Yeah, celebrate. Speak to it for
Oh, Celebrate. Yeah. Celebrate is a good event. I chaired the committee in 2019. I think that was the last time we put it on. This year, Sally Ryder is chairing it, and she was also our event coordinator in 2019, which was a successful year. And I think this year will be even better since we have a lot of events that are kind of co-hosting with Simsbury. At this time, I think we've changed the name to Celebrate the Valley. So to rebrand it and include everybody. And now back to Leslie.
We're interchangeable at this point anyway. Okay, so now after taking a look at 2021, we wanted to take this opportunity before we merge into the Granby Simsbury Chamber of Commerce to take a look back even further than 1 year to the rich history that both of these chambers have come from. So I'd like to introduce Director Emeritus, past President in 2010 and 2012, Dennis Jacobs.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? I'm going to make sure you can hear me because I've been standing in the back and I haven't been able to hear too well. So I'm here to give you just a quick little history lesson and a little bit of setting the record straight for the Simsbury Chamber before we merge and get everything going in this direction. It was established in 1961, and Joe had touched on 5 merchants getting together to start a merchant organization. And that was 61 years ago. And a couple of things got forgotten along the way. One of them was when I was president, I was the 35th president of the Simsbury Chamber in 2010-12. And I had a contractor that I was working with. His name was Gerard Brandt, and he owned a company called Liberty Insulation. And when I told him I was president, he said, "Oh, that's funny. My dad was president of the chamber also." And I said, "Really? Which one?" "Well, he was the first one." And I said, "Wow, we all thought Dick Wagner was the first president of the chamber." And he said, "No, and I can prove it." And he brought a silver platter to my office with Charles Prant's name inscribed on it. There it is, next to the list of all the presidents up to 2012. And it says Dick Wagner in the first position, and the second one is unknown. Well, Gerard set the record straight. It was his dad that was the first one, and Dick Wagner was actually the second president of the Simsbury Chamber. So there are still a few names up there that are missing, and we haven't been able to find them, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody had an idea how far back the whole chamber goes and what happened at that time. So 35th president, there have been 5 more. That's 40 presidents for this chamber at this point. And everybody has served this community and the chamber very well. I also thought that I might just recognize some of the executive directors of the past. It's important where we are today and what the chamber's doing, but Executive Director Charity Folk, who couldn't be here today, I was hoping that she was actually going to be able to be here. She started about the same time that I joined the chamber in 1991, and she held a flag for this organization for over 23 years. Charity led the chamber for 19 years, organizing the chamber's town-wide Septemberfest weekend, our largest fundraiser among many, many other achievements. Then came Lisa Gray in 2015 with her organizational team building skills to grow the chamber and host a unique, fun-filled chili challenge, Spooktacular. That is still talked about today. Lisa moved on to follow her heart and start another nonprofit, a promise to Jordan in honor of her son. And now we were in search of a new director. 2019 came, our current director, Morgan Hilliard, and COVID-19 at the same time. What a time to start a new position, but that didn't slow her down at all. And look where we are today. So I'm proud to be a part of this historic time as these two businesses and community-minded organizations blend their talents together. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Dennis. And now we have John Ladati to talk about the history of the Granby Chamber.
Okay, so I have no prepared remarks. That's the bad news. I had to give a speech Saturday night to the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame. I had to give a speech Tuesday night to the Harford County Bar Association. So when Morgan called me yesterday, I said, I'm not writing another speech. And the worst thing you want is a lawyer with an open lane with no prepared remarks, but I'll try to keep it brief. It was mentioned before that the This is the worst microphone I've ever had. The Granby Chamber was formed in 1965, and I don't think it's coincidental that it was formed 3 years after State Line Oil, after Al Guarco and Mike Guarco Sr. Formed State Line Oil, because other businesses at that point, Pierce Builders, Aero Concrete, were forming in this little farm community next door to y'all. And they were the backbone for decades of this organization. And while I'm on the subject, I'd like to take a moment of silence for Mike Guarco, Sr., who recently passed. Thank you. So I remember having a meeting with the Park and Recs department, and they were giving us a little difficulty with our event that year in Salmon Brook Park. And I said, look around this table, this conference room. Look at Jen Burkhardt, look at Mary Ann Guarco. These are the people that built this park. These are the people who have built this town. As a chamber, and you owe it to them. They've given to the community has to accommodate them, and the town did, and they have very much since that very tense moment at that point. I think it's because of the chamber that Granby became a better community, and I want to speak about Celebrate Granby, which started, I believe, when John French was president in 1998. Earlier than that. And it was a small little gathering on Merchant's Way, and it really was just businesses that presented their wares and had their brochures out there. And then eventually it progressed to what it is today. In 2001, it moved into Salmon Brook Park. That's when we were having a few issues with the use of the park. And it developed into really the signature event, in Granby. When we didn't have it during the pandemic, we were constantly accosted by people in town. When are you going to bring this back? When are we going to have the fireworks? When are we going to have the carnival? It's really grown into something amazing. But I want everybody to remember when we do celebrate the Valley, it's about the businesses. People are going to be there. They're going to be eating fried dough from Unico. They're going to be riding the rides. They're going to be watching the fireworks. They're going to spend way too much time in the beer garden. But that's not the point. It's all about promoting the businesses in Granby and Simsbury and in the Valley. And it affords those businesses and these chambers to give back to the community. We really need to keep that in the front of our mind. So the chamber has 15 directors. We have a president, 2 vice presidents, treasurer and secretary, which are now merging with the Simsbury group. I'm going to be a director emeritus, which just means I'm old and I have gray hair. But I'm here. I'm here to help you guys. We have a scholarship committee, currently headed up, or was headed up by Mary Ann Guarco. We have our Lunch and Learn, headed up by Kathy Ungerleiter, the First Friday Networking group. Celebrate Granby, as you've heard. Sally Ryder is not only our event planner, but now she's the chairperson. But last year it was, the last time we had it, it was Scott. And then we have our events coordinator doing all the business after hours. Again, it was Mary Ann Guarco recently. And I really just want everybody to just thank that board of directors, those officers, because this has really been, for many of us on both sides, both chambers, it's been a difficult decision to merge these chambers. And all of these people have worked very hard to make the Granby Chamber successful. And I just ask that you give them a big hand of applause. Another big event we did was the Granby Horses, where we painted horses. That was again under John French's direction when he was the leader. His past ED at that time was Roger Voyer, who was leaving as our executive director when I came on the board. Then we had Rebecca Taylor, followed by Lucy Lindire. And then John came out of retirement because we asked him, and he's run the chamber very well for the last 5 years. Thank you, John. So I want to say this. I said it before. It's been a very difficult year to pull this off. There are a lot of skeptics out there. There are a lot of people waiting. It's kind of like Missouri, show me. I think it's incumbent on these merged chambers to deliver at a level that's never been delivered before for our businesses, for our membership. And I look forward to working with you, and I think the future is bright. Thank you.
We've taken a moment to appreciate our past with both chambers, and now, oh my gosh, my voice. And now, past President Lou George will talk about the future of our new organization.
So thank you, everyone. And I hope if you can't hear me, just yell. I'm used to being yelled at, so don't worry about it. Thank you. So over 2 years ago, we began discussions about whether it would be appropriate to merge as a one chamber between Granby and Simsbury. And it was a long time ago, as I think back. And I was determining how long it was, and it said 2 years. It was actually like 2.5 years since we've been talking about it. So what Morgan wanted me to do is go through just a little summary, a history of what we did. This was not a decision that was taken lightly. It was not a decision made by one or two people. It was made by a number of people over a long period of time with various stepping stones. We started with a small task force that was looking at whether it would actually be advantageous for the businesses to have this merged organization. And I'd like to recognize those members now. Bob Marks, Marianne Borco, Joe Beal, John Legard. Yeah, obviously the staff was involved with that. We started out trying to figure out why chambers would merge, looking at regional chambers, what were the benefits of that, and we learned that to support the businesses, to continue to provide value to the businesses, we needed to be innovative, we needed to grow, develop more exposure. So members wanted to go to various events, whether they be after hours networking, morning events. We felt that having more people involved not only helped the businesses, but helped the events. We had more volunteers, more hands meant less work. We noticed that as events went on, and I think whether it be Celebrate Granby or September Fest, it was the same people doing a lot of the work, and having more members, more volunteers would make it easier, not burn people out along the way. So these were all things that we looked at. One of the quotes that I put up on a couple of slides that we showed the various boards was, merger is a way to increase value and position the chamber for future success. So that's something that we looked at and said, okay, now we think it'll be a good idea. How do we get this going? We started with a few collaborative events. We started dating before we got married. We had some after hours collaborations. We did the golf event together. All found that to be very successful and learned how the various boards work, began to meet people, and that was really important. As that occurred, we then went to the boards of each of the chambers and reported back as to what we thought and whether it should move forward as an idea and really begin to put some structure around it or not. And both boards okayed that. And that was probably over a year ago. And then the next step took some time to complete. I don't know, am I breaking up to you people? No, okay, because it appears to me it is. Okay. So it took a while to work through the process with this task force, which turned into a kind of a transition committee. And what that involved was looking at the two structures, how we could come together, and that was from membership, dues, finances, programming events, all of these items that we had various committees from each organization kind of work and look at those things, the bylaws. We then had these committees come together, we developed a structure and a final product, and then brought that back to the boards again to say, okay, here's what we think it will look like to start. And the boards, again, approved that, and then we put the structure together and presented it to all the members in both organizations. The boards approved the new leadership, and all of that was presented to the two organizations who voted upon it as an approval to move forward and confirm the merger. So here we are. As of June 1st, there's one organization. It's the Granby Simsbury Chamber. We'll have over 450 members. We will have 2 offices. We'll have an increased staff, all designed to help support the businesses in the community and provide better value, provide better events as we move forward. But the work doesn't stop there. This new board, this new leadership was handpicked for a reason, and that is because the work that they will do over the next year is crucial and very important and not easy. And these are people that have had experience, that have been on the board before, that have run the board before, have knowledge of the two organizations. And what you see now, what we talk about now, what Morgan introduces now as the organization and the leadership is going to grow, evolve, and get better between now, a year from now, and 2-3 years from now. So it's an evolving process. It's not a final product. There will be issues that have to be dealt with, but as we did with the task force and as we transitioned, everybody worked very well together in making that happen. And if we all have the same goal, I'm sure that it will work out better than we anticipate. There are 2 great organizations, as John and Dennis mentioned, with great history. And I strongly believe that this merged organization will be even better than those 2. And I look forward to working with the new leadership that will soon be introduced. Thank you.
Now I'm excited to introduce our dream team that Lou described. Please hold your applause until the end because we have a very big incoming board. Sandy Hart with the Simsbury Inn, please rise. Where is she? Oh no. Dan Correa, DKC Associates. Melissa Appleby, Town of Simsbury. Jamie Rice, JQR Capital. Marianne Guarco, State Line Propane and Oil. Rob Pancos, Windsor Federal. Andrew St. Ange, Northwest Community Bank. Sally Ryder Productions. If everyone could stay standing so we can all see this new group. Dave Calaby, Big Thumb. Lindsay Allen, Westfield Bank. Jerry Toner, Friends of Simsbury Farms. James Chen, Zen Group. Kathy Ungerleiter, Granby Dental Center. Brian Guarco, State Line Holdings. And our executive committee, Treasurer Scott Gochin, Harper and Whitfield PC. Secretary Pam Broderick, Coldwell Banker Realty. Vice President Lou George, Hassett and George. Vice President Nancy Sheets, Farmington Valley Visiting Nurse Association. Vice President Colin Bostic, Connecticut Physical Therapy Specialists. Vice President Scott Riley, Cambridge House Brew Pub. And President Tim Baker, Metric Financial LLC. I could not be more excited to work with this group in the upcoming year, and I'd like to invite Tim up here to say a few words.
Thank you, Morgan. Good evening, everybody. I've got a little list here. All I really want to do is say thank you to some people. This has really been an awesome process going through this. For those of you that don't know, again, my name is Tim Baker. I live in Granby. I own a business called Metric Financial based in Simsbury. And I have been a part of both of these boards for a number of years now. By the way, Morgan has finally figured out a way to make me stay until the end of a meeting, make me the last speaker, and I can't go anywhere. So, but again, both of these communities have been very important to me. Both of these chambers have been very important to me. We've spent a lot of time working on this merger. I really do believe this is the way forward for all of the businesses. As John Laudati has pointed out a number of times before, for those of you that are not heavily involved with chambers, this is the way of the future. Chambers are merging. It happened with Avon and Canton. It happened in sort of the Middlefield area of the state. It's just happening, and this is a really good opportunity for both Simsbury and Granby to be the first people at the table and have a say in what this looks like 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road. This is a really good opportunity for the members. This is really all about you. This was not about, obviously, we made decisions based on what the chamber does and what the boards do, but this was all about membership, greater exposure to one another. Granby and Simsbury are two very natural neighbors of one another. So this is a really good opportunity. I want to thank specifically John Laudati and Lou George, who were really kind of the pioneers of this whole endeavor. Morgan and Leslie for all of their efforts, all of the behind the scenes, getting everything together, looking at pro formas and all of those good things. What's the membership going to look like? Creating marketing materials, all of those good things. Lisa Ritchie, you got thrown into the deep end of the pool very late in the game. Thank you for being a champ about that. Both boards of directors, I can't name everybody. But this has been, as John said, this decision was not taken lightly. There were a number of debates, sometimes fairly heated. And in the end, everybody made the decision that we thought was best for the membership. And finally, I'm going to thank you, the members, for coming out and voting. Right? Obviously, not everybody voted, but we got enough votes to approve the merger. And hopefully that's a reflection of your view that this will be the best thing for you. The last thing I'll say is coming in as president, obviously Morgan and Leslie are your primary points of contact. I really do want to make this a much more friendly, sort of membership-focused group. Morgan and I are working very closely on that, and we really want to make sure that we're available to you. So I'm going to make myself available. For those of you that know me, you know I'm a networker. I love meeting people. I love helping businesses. Right? We're a great community and the chamber does lots of things for the community. But at the end of the day, this is about you, the businesses, because we wouldn't have a community without the businesses. So anybody who wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to do one-on-ones. Talk to me about what the chamber's doing for you, what the chamber's not doing for you, how things could be improved. I'll always grab a cup of coffee, have a phone call, lunch, whatever it is anybody wants to do. We really want to make this a phenomenal effort for you guys going forward because it's really all about you. And I just want to thank again Lou, John, and both boards for seeing this thing through. Thank you.
Now we have the award ceremony portion of the event. First up are the Granby Awards. Bob Marks.
Thank you, Morgan. I'm excited to be here. Being on the task force, it's been a lot of meetings, a lot of discussion, and to see this all actually happen is a real joy. So this is a historic day, and I think we all should be proud of what's ahead. I want to ask Lisa Ritchie to come up and give me a hand with these awards. Where's Lisa? So for those who don't know Lisa, she is the administrator of the Granby Chamber, which in a few days will change. I told Lisa when we interviewed her for the job that I can't give you a job description because it's going to change very soon, but she hung in there. So if you can, we're starting with the Humanitarian Award. By the way, is Kathy Underlater still in the house?
She had another meeting.
She had to go, okay, because she was going to accept this award. So in 2003, well, first of all, for those who don't know me, I am co-owner with my wife Joy of Landmark Tours and Cruises in Southwick, right up the road, and we joined the Granby Chamber in 1994, and I'm happy to say I've been on and off the board for 18 years. I was president in 2004, 2005, and I was recruited a year ago to come back as president until Tim Baker took the job. So I kind of filled the space between John Ladati and Tim Baker. I got my arm twisted, and John French was in on it. So anyway, we started these awards in 2003, and we've been giving them every year except for the last 2 years due to COVID. But one of the awards that we are especially proud of is the Humanitarian of the Year Award. The definition of humanitarian includes putting the welfare of others before oneself, willingness to do for the good of the community what is necessary without consideration of reward or return. This definition captures Ginny Witka. During the pandemic, Ginny sought out seniors and people who were fragile or insecure. She called organizations like Waste Not, Want Not, and asked, how are you dealing with the pandemic? What do you need to keep going? How can I help you? What else needs uplifting? Ginny backed her inquiries with action, support, and money where needed. This is part of her makeup, not only during the pandemic, but throughout the years. Ginny has been a pillar in the Granby community, the longtime owner of Lost Acres Orchards. She has served selflessly on the Board of Education, the Civic Club, and the Historical Society Board. She has spearheaded fundraisers. She's promoted land trusts. She's worked at Education Foundation funding the arts programs at our schools. She's taught classes on every level. She's always employing the teaching and the youth of the community as one of her priorities. If you haven't been to Lost Acres Orchard, wonderful place, great place to go for lunch. Ginny has a glass tip jar on the counter, but the tips do not go to her staff. Instead, they go to community members in need. She distributes the money to the town of Granby, especially those in need. And we honor Ginny Witka as this year's Humanitarian of the Year. So we will deliver it for her. So our next award, bear with me, we have a couple others. Next award is the award for Business Person of the Year, and the Granby Board unanimously decided to rename the award in honor of Mike Warco Sr. So this is the first award called the Mike Warco Sr. Business Person of the Year. And I think it's only fitting that it goes to Hal Pierce Jr. and Brian Pierce of Pierce Builders. I say that because Pierce Builders was one of the companies that started the Granby Chamber. Hal Pierce was a very good friend of Mike Warco Sr. The families vacationed together. They helped to start the Granby Chamber of Commerce. Hal started his business in the 1960s, Pierce Builders. Eventually, the two sons Hal Jr. and Brian took over the business. Business was incorporated in 1976, and their projects are all over Connecticut and Massachusetts. They've been doing a lot of work lately for a small company, you might have heard of them, called Amazon. So if you see the Amazon building over near the airport, they did all the foundation work for that project. They've done other Amazon sites, in addition to FedEx sites. Other projects including Oak Ridge Dairy Farm in Ellington, Dorset Crossing Apartments in Simsbury, Coca-Cola facility in South Windsor, and the Amazon Distribution Center in Shodak, New York. The company owns and leases several properties in the region, from homes and condos to daycare centers and a medical center. Both sons graduated from Granby High School, and Brian is a past president of the Granby Chamber. In fact, he was the president when I joined the board in 1999. So this iconic family continues to make Granby proud, and we honor them as the Mike Guarco Senior Business Persons of the Year. And I think Marianne Guarco is here to accept the award on their behalf.
It's an honor and a privilege to accept this award on behalf of Brian Pierce and Hal Pierce Jr. I've been friends with them their entire lives, and they're very deserving. They're very deserving of this award. Thank you.
So this next award winner, John French, someone I first met at the Celebrate Granby event when it was in the center of town. This was, I believe, 1999. And I was working the booth for the Granby Lions Club. And this fellow came up to me. He was working for Edward Jones in Granby. And somehow I convinced him to join the Chamber and the Lions Club, and also later on the Granby Golf League. A year later, John joined the Chamber Board of Directors, and a couple of years later, when I became the president of the Chamber, I asked John to serve as my vice president. I recognized his strong leadership qualities and his get-it-done attitude. I also turned to John when the Chamber coffers were at a low level and asked him to chair a new marketing committee to try and raise some funds for the struggling Chamber. Sounds like a competition out there. So John's committee got together and came up with a fundraiser to put Granby on the map as a destination. That was our Painted Horse project. Some of you remember the painted horses around town, giddy up to Granby. And our small little town of Granby ended up with 42 painted horses, and we raised more than $90,000 at the auction. Thanks to John's leadership. John also recommended moving our town's signature event, Celebrate Granby, from the center of town to the much larger Salmon Brook Park. So in 2003, Celebrate Granby in the Park was born. Fast forward to 2015, when John was planning his retirement from Merrill Lynch. The Granby Chamber needed a new paid administrator, and John was hired for the job. John was able to grow membership, upgrade our website, work with social media, and he was our administrator for 6 years. He's now stepping down with this merger, opening up a new chapter, the Granby Simsbury merger. But John is here with his wife Nancy, and is Michelle here as well? Michelle's not here. We offer our thanks and praise for his role in the growth of the Granby Chamber and this Distinguished Service Award. John Trump.
Ever at a loss for words?
You're not a loss for words, are you, John?
Not lately.
Did that group behind hear me?
Yes. Yeah, you got
Because I might say something important or not. I appreciate the recognition. I also appreciate the years that I've spent with the Granby Chamber in good times and bad times. I give you all a lot of luck and hope for the future, which I think is going to be very promising for all of you. Just all, business is important. Don't ever forget the community. Thank you.
And thank you for not dropping the mic.
All right, I thought about that. I'll give it to you at the table.
Okay, we have one more award to give out. Go to the right page here. So a few years back, we started an award for Granby's New Business of the Year. Now remember, these awards were decided 2 years ago because we did not have them in 1980, 2020, or 21. So we just keep pushing these award winners back, but we finally are able to recognize them. So our New Business of the Year, we selected the Whisk, the Whisk, a catering company. A catering company that started offering complete take-home meals prior to the start of COVID, keeping residents both sane and well-fed, as it seemed like the world was spinning out of control. The company's owner, Sarah Cowles Gentile. Sarah here? No? Right, Sarah. She's a native of nearby Granville, Mass. And East Hartland, Connecticut. Sarah is a trained accountant who started working at the Whisk in 2002 as an accounting clerk for its former owner, Jay Garbinski. The company was then located in Collinsville. While working for Jay, Sarah learned the ins and outs of catering and became active in party planning and meal preparation. In 2015, Jay retired and Sarah took over as owner of the Whisk, which was then located in West Hartford. In 2017, Sarah moved the business to Granby. It's where the old Rome Sporting Goods is located, if those of you haven't been. And Sarah has resided in Granby since 2011 with her husband Jonathan and their 2 children. Sarah started getting involved with scouting, youth football, and other local organizations, including the Granby Chamber. Throughout the pandemic, Sarah has expanded the pickup dinner menu and added special holiday meals so families can stay safe and enjoy a catered dinner at home for the holidays. So today we honor Sarah and her business, The Whisk, as Granby's New Business of the Year.
say?
Yeah, I'll say something.
Beautiful dress.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say that I'm so glad I came up with the idea of the take-home dinners
Closer to your mouth.
prior to COVID, only because I feel like it helped a huge amount of the population who really wanted to go out to a restaurant and couldn't, but they could bring it home to themselves. So, and I'm so glad I do it right down the hill from where my kids go to school, so I get to see them after school, and we're at all the sporting events and doing all the fun stuff, so which is what you need to do when you have kids that age. So, yeah, just come support us. Thank you.
I want to thank Lisa for helping me with the plaques, and I want a shout out to Lou for being the one person who got this whole thing rolling. Lou and John Ladotti and the rest of the task force. Job well done. And now back to Morgan, our leader.
Now we have the Simsbury Awards. Can I please have Sue Humrock-Lemke, Assistant Superintendent, up front? Thank you.
Thanks. So it's so great to be here to acknowledge Jan Hanlon. And last year I had the great pleasure to announce the Educator of the Year, Patty Warner, who was a school nurse. And many of you were here, you may remember I shared how Matt Curtis, the superintendent, went to Patty and said, Patty, we would like you to be the Educator of the Year. And she said, no, thank you. So this year, Matt came to me and said, hey, Jan Hanlon, what do you think? Educator of the Year. And I just started laughing. I said, if you thought Patty Warner's reception was icy, wait until you share with Jan that she's the new nominee. I don't even think she said thank you. I think she just said no. But we promised her she didn't have to speak if she actually accepted the award. So Jan Hanlon has been a school psychologist at Terriffill Elementary School for decades. And in that role, if you've never been to Terriffill School, go. It's a lovely, lovely place for kids. It's small, it's mighty, and people just do what they have to do to get the job done for kids. So I've seen Jan nurse, putting on Band-Aids, opening up milk, mediating a peer conflict, keeping Steve Matizik, the principal, in line. Like, she's done it all. So if you talk about different hats that people have, Jan has a closet full, and unlike me, who doesn't look so great in hats, every single hat this woman wears is worn with grace, style, and humility. This year we had a theme for the Simsbury Public Schools: all kids, all staff, all ways. And there is no one that embodies that phrase more than Jan Hanlon. So it is my pleasure to announce the 2022 Educator of the Year, Jan Hanlon from Terriffill School.
Now can I please have Simsbury First Selectman Wendy McStunis and Deputy First Selectman Amber Poole.
Okay, Sue, that was a tough act to follow, so thank you, because I have to read my words here. Hi, I'm Wendy McStunis, Simsbury's First Selectman, and this is Deputy First Selectman Amber Obule. And I do want to point out Heather Getz on the Board of Selectmen is sitting right over there, too. So we are here to name Mark Ornstein, there you are, as the Simsbury Granby Chamber of Commerce Public Servant of the Year. When Morgan said this was a task given to the First Selectman, the first and only person that came into my head was Mark. I was pretty sure he was a good pick, and I asked Amber for her thoughts, and she responded with an equivocal, absolutely. Thank you. Okay. I then shared my thinking with the full board and heard back from Heather and others that he was a great choice. Our town manager and staff, Melissa and Tom are here, also seemed to agree. Mark is everywhere. He's sneaking into the main meeting room before our meetings to play with some wires, adjust a mic, and spot check the owl with Melissa. Without him, all of you at home would not have seen us spend hours discussing and then passing the 22-23 budget, or hear Joan Coe share the happenings around town. You would have missed our swearing in ceremony back in December, the Meadowood dedication last fall, the recent food pantry opening, or Monday's Hometown Heroes ceremony. All of these are available to the public because Mark's work at Simsbury Community Media makes a difference. I met Mark when I joined the board in 2019. He was leaving the technology task force just as I was starting my liaison position. I was kind of bummed because he was an ex-Travelers IT pioneer back in the old days. And that was when I started there as a programmer. Then I was a liaison to the aging and disability community, and I ran into Mark again, where he was and still is an advocate for the Senior Community Center, doing what he can to help the seniors in our community. Now he's on the Library Board of Trustees, where he worked with Amber and Heather. Again, another gig, another passion for Mark. But I want to get to his critical role at Simsbury Media. Mark, you've been instrumental to the Simsbury Media team and our town during the pandemic and in your 8 years there. You've been the director, cinematographer, sound editor, AV geek, and basically jack of all trade to your peers. You've been the key person in getting grants and other funding for equipment and technology upgrades to keep Simsbury Community Media bigger, broader, and better. There's Patrick over there. I can just say hi. So, and now back to why you are Public Servant of the Year. We can't emphasize enough how lucky we are, the town of Simsbury, and our boards and commissions and residents to have you. The Terrafill room at the library is connected and wired for meetings and events because of your hard work. You are responsible for bringing our collective public service into everyone's homes, either on their TVs or laptops. You are smart, creative, funny, at least to me. I don't know if other people think you're funny. Dedicated. You do.
Hilarious.
Dedicated and a true team player. What you do for us does not go unnoticed. And that is why, Mark, we present you tonight with the Public Servant of the Year Award. Oh, a picture. A picture.
Oh, picture. Whoa.
Speak.
Would you believe 1972 in February, I moved into Simsbury?
No.
4 careers later, 50 years in the same house, I'm still loving what I'm doing. And that's been great. I love Simsbury. I love the people in Simsbury. I like playing around in Simsbury. So, as a matter of fact, some people say I should be paying a entertainment fee for some of the work I do. So be it. It's great.
Thanks.
Jubio.
Every year, the Chamber of Commerce is tasked with selecting their Business Leader of the Year. I started working in Simsbury on December 22nd of 2015. And from that very day to this very day today and tomorrow and the years going forward, I've always been able to see our business leader of the year, Nancy Sheep, successfully impacting everything we do within our local community. There is not a single event or instance I can think of where Nancy was not within the community working to make this community a better place. Also, think about what we've had to go through in the last 3 years. Our health care professionals are truly the unsung heroes of the last 3 years. And just imagine for one moment what they've had to do in order to provide health and well-being to the patients and all the people of their community. So, Nancy, on behalf of this community, I can't thank you enough for everything you've done and everything that you continue to do every single day. You've helped keep us healthy, strong, and well, and we owe you all a debt of gratitude. Please come forward and let's have a round of applause for Nancy Sheep.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me, and I promise I will be brief. I love a stage, but it's not like me. I'm a little nervous, and that's not usually me. So let's see. 40 years ago, almost to this day, I became a nurse. I can't tell you that there was a clear train of thought in my head that got me to that decision, but over the years, I have found that I'm where I'm supposed to be. I have been very fortunate in my career. My journey and nursing and I have gone in a lot of places that are expected, like hospitals and clinics, outpatient programs, places that are very unanticipated, like the United States Navy and Marine Corps, local state police departments and academies, insurance companies, and lo and behold, I end up in a visiting nurse association. If you work hard and you do your job well in nursing, simply put, somebody gets helped and somebody gets better. But what you don't know about, that only we share, is that there are moments. They may not be very often, but they do happen. And they're very private, and it's usually between you and a patient. And in the course of a conversation, all of a sudden, the person says something to you, and you both stop. And you realize at that moment that something so much more was said than just the words. Because they shared with you that you affected them. You had an impact on them. Maybe for the first time in their life, somebody actually heard them. You reached them in a way nobody else could. And while they thank you because they're saying goodbye and they know they probably won't see you again, you realize that they'll never forget you. And later on, when you're alone, and you're thinking about this privately, and I'm a very reflective person, so unfortunately I do that a lot, you have a smile that kind of comes across your face because you recognize at that moment that it wasn't just their life that was impacted, it's your own. My life has been made so much richer by so many of those incredible, extraordinary moments. And then today happens. And the place I call home, the community that I am wrapped around, that I finally for the first time get to work in, actually gives me one of these extraordinary moments in public and out loud. I could never fathom being recognized in this way. And I'm as excited as I am. I'm excited not only for myself, but for the profession of nursing, because we really can be leaders and we can be business leaders, and for my agency, because as long as my Visiting Nurse Association at Farmington Valley has been here, you have shared with us and we have shared with you that we both need each other and we promise to kind of be here for the long haul, no matter what that means. I want to take a second to thank some of my nurses that are here, Cheryl and Julie, who at any time, no matter what I ask them, they say yes. For my executive assistant, Sharon Gallerani, who not only makes me look good, but makes me sound good. Stephanie McGuire and Andrew St. Ange, they are on my board of directors. My family, my sister and my mother, who wouldn't miss this from me. My husband, who, thank God, Michael, when we got married, you promised you'd be my partner. And you truly have been in every form of the word. You have supported me as a professional as much as you have as a person, and I wouldn't be here without you. To the Simsbury Chamber and all of the businesses and those that I don't know in Granby, although I know a lot of you already, I'm really excited, and I just want to thank you for giving me a moment I will never forget.
And now, as we wrap up today's program, a second thank you to our sponsors. Presenting sponsor, Liberty Bank. Gold sponsors, Northwest Community Bank, Windsor Federal, Connecticut Physical Therapy Specialists. Silver sponsors, King & Associates, D.E. Jacobs & Associates, Dino Nobel, Hassett & George, Attorneys at Law. And please check out the pages on your tables. We have June 13th golf tournament, September 22nd through the 25th, Celebrate the Valley information. And October 16th will be our next Spooktacular Festival. Thank you so much for coming today.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.